We are a ways into the warm-up, nice and early here, nice and cool. Today is going to be one of the first more traditional quote-unquote speed workouts that I've done in a while. No reps are longer than an 800 meter rep, about half a mile, so that is kind of nice, but looking to inject some intensity into them. I just feel like I've been spamming threshold in marathon efforts over and over again, and especially coming off an actual marathon race where it is nothing but marathon effort for as long as you can go. You know, a nice little change of pace, quite literally, might do me some good. So not a marathon specific workout at all inside of 3 weeks, closer to 2.5 weeks now from my second marathon race, but I feel like I need it. It is a pretty straightforward workout with the 4x 800, 600, 400. If you're not familiar with these types of workouts where each set is like different distances and multiple reps of different distances, you're essentially viewing the 800, 600, 400 as one set in itself. Obviously, I'll do an 800, take a small rest. I believe it's 800, 2-minute rest, 600, 90 seconds, 400, 60 seconds maybe. I'm not sure, but you'll see as it goes here, and I guess I will too. But yeah, the goal is to get obviously a little bit faster as each rep's distance is shorter. Mile 3 of the warm-up here, I feel like garbage, just so incredibly flat. So that means this workout is either going to be the best one that I've had in months or the worst one of all time. Just took my first gel because I want to keep practicing that fueling. It was actually the caffeinated berry gel from BPM. Used those on my most recent long run. Had no issues. They tasted great. Gonna keep using them for the remaining workouts and long runs. Hope they sit well. Hopefully roll with them going forward, but still keeping the Human Plus gels in the rotation just to stay used to them and in case I need a fallback option. Sound of my breath, probably tell that at least 2 sets are done now. Trying to keep each rep effort-wise consistent, which right now, halfway through, it's going pretty well. I started to just walk the rests, trying to let my heart rate come down and just get the most out of myself every rep, which there's no shame in. Some people like to float, rest, jog, walk, stand still. All has different effects on you, but I just want to get the legs turning each time. So this is what's working so far. And 800s are in like the 5:30 minute per mile range. 600s are in the 5:20s. And 400s are in the 5:10s. So about to get cracking here again. Almost done with the workout here. Uphill reps are brutal. Spent a couple matches on those first 3 sets because since I've turned around, especially with that last 800, things are feeling a little bit harder. So might have to turn the dial down a little bit for this last 600 and 400. But I guess that's the good news. There are only 2 reps left, and I have not combusted quite yet. So with that workout finished, feel pretty good coming off of it. We continue on through what will be our highest mileage week between Chicago Marathon and the second marathon. So not necessarily like another peak week, really. I would say that the long run workout that I plan to do this weekend is pretty similar to like a peak week marathon specific workout, but in terms of the overall volume and mileage, pretty run of the mill with sort of what my regular mileage was in my lead up to Chicago, and things, still feel pretty solid, all things considered. So heading into this weekend, the plan is to sort of do the same thing that I usually do when it comes to those 1 or 2 workouts in terms of long run workouts that I do in my marathon lead up closer to the race, where it's anywhere from 12, maybe even closer to like 13, 14, 15 miles of quality work when it comes to marathon effort miles. So the goal here is to do probably, I think it's going to be like 4x5K at marathon effort with kilometer floats between each 5K rep, or I'm going to do 2x10K. One of those two, just to sort of break it up and do it in the Alphafly 3s. I spent a good chunk of change on these shoes, and I want to give them more than just one run in, the lead up to my previous marathon. I'm actually going to wear them for however long I go, 20 to 22, 23 miles this weekend for the long run, see what they feel like for that longer distance, because previous to this, I've only worn them for 12 miles. And I would say performance-wise, they're pretty much in the same ballpark. Again, I don't think they are outdoing the Alphafly ones in really any aspect other than them being a little bit lighter, but I also haven't given them the chance in those sort of late stages of the marathon type of miles. So I don't know what they feel like when they're on my feet for 15 miles, 18 miles, 20 miles and beyond. I'd like to get that experience in. And like I said earlier in the video, giving some new fueling a try. This will not be my first time trying these. I used these gels in last week's long run as well as the workout you just saw, and that is the BPN Go gels. I would say in terms of performance, it seem like they're doing what they need to do. Same sort of ballpark in terms of like carbs and sodium, not a problem there. Also tried a sort of caffeinated one for the first time during last week's long run and the workout. I'm drinking coffee a lot throughout my sort of normal work days, so caffeine doesn't tend to, in the middle of a run, have a ton of noticeable effects, but I guess if I'm used to it and it doesn't have any adverse effects, certainly can't hurt. But I would say these like applesauce ones are the most delicious gels I have ever tried before. Gonna try to take 4 or 5 of them during the long run workout, and we'll see how they sit. So let's see how that goes. So like I said, 4x5K for this long run workout, which I'm doing sort of in place of my usual 12-mile marathon effort tempo, 2 weeks out from the race. So currently 15 days out from the second marathon here. And I don't know if 4x5K will be easier for me. In theory, it is, because you have those kilometer floats between each rep, but sometimes I feel like the advantage of just doing the tempo straight through, so you don't lose any momentum at any point. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, gonna do something similar to what I did last week. Bit of a longer warm-up. I think I warmed up about 8 miles or so last week. This week I'll do a 6-mile warm-up, just so I'm working at that marathon effort on slightly more tired legs. About 6K into the warm-up here. Feeling good. Alphafly 3s, much comfier, lighter than the previous Alphaflys, but they might have somehow gotten louder, which I'm sure you can hear on this pavement right now. But I took my first gel at 1.5 miles or 2 miles. Plan is to take one every 4 then, starting at 6 miles. So 6, 10, 14, 18. I might sound very sure of myself right now with not just this workout, but training through this marathon in general. Just know that I am in uncharted territory, and all of this is just based on some semi-educated guessing, so do not take my word for it. Today's workout, aiming for about 20-minute 5Ks, so 4 minutes a K, 6:25 to 6:27 a mile. I think, you know, if they're a couple seconds slower or faster, so be it. As long as they're relatively even and the effort's there, stomach feels good fueling, check all those boxes, I'll be happy. First 5K officially done. Been running into an on and off headwind. It was pretty much very steady headwind for the first 2 miles. Calmed down a little bit as I rounded a small curve for that third mile, the final about 2Ks. So feels a little harder than it probably should right now, but happens. The wind happens. When it comes to these Alpha 3s, I don't know. Some people are saying that this is the most accessible Alphafly ever because of the lack of that big old cutout between the heel and the forefoot. Even if you're heel striking, people are saying theoretically transition should be smoother, easier for more different types of runners. Whereas other people are saying, you know, sure, maybe they moved those sort of air units back a little bit, but these are still meant for elite runners, like the ones you see setting world records. Theoretically, these should work better, considering how different the midsole looks and the placement of that air unit, but I'll tell you what, I do not feel smoother at all in these on this run. I think, you know, I'm gonna give them a chance, continue obviously through this workout in them, but you know, I think this is probably confirmation that I'm just an Alphafly 1 type of guy. Okay, 5K number 2 officially done. Got another gel in. Most beautiful turnout point there is back here. Fall is in full effect. Second 5K started feeling a little worse, ended feeling better. Can't explain these things sometimes, but that's how it goes. So I think those first 2 reps pretty much in the same ballpark. Turn around, get another gel in here in another mile or 2, halfway through 5K reps, 2 to go. Third 5K done. Fueling is great. Felt a bit harder than the other 2, which is understandable. Turned around, coming slightly uphill now. Marathon effort is feeling harder than usual right now, which is understandable considering 13 days removed from pretty tough marathon itself, 6 days removed from an 18-mile long run workout, 2 days removed from one of the faster speed sessions I've done in months. Also just normal everyday life, 3 or 4 strength sessions in all of that. So I think I'm going to try to be the intuitive, smart runner that I sometimes fail to be. Listen to my body right now at about 17 miles in. Just say it's been a good 3 by 5K. I think trying to get a 4th 5K in here might do me more harm than good. Be that what it may. Solid workout. Gonna keep fueling here. And yeah, that's pretty good. And that was the long run. So I ended up going about 21 and a half miles total. While it isn't totally ideal to cut a long run short, long run workout specifically, I ended up running 1 mile of that final 5K rep. I'm trying to sort of like adjust my mindset around workouts being so incredibly life or death consequential. In the grand scheme of things, what is the material difference 15 days out from a marathon between doing 10 quality miles and 12 quality miles. And I feel like if anything, it's good to, again, sort of participate a little bit more in that listening to the body, because, sometimes I don't do that very well, and sometimes I do that better. Happy to bank another pretty big long run here. And then just today, which is a few days later now, officially now, I believe it's like 10 or 11 days out, did 3x2 miles at Threshold today and had a great workout. So it just goes to show, good and bad workouts, they come and go. 3x2 miles, I think I went 12:11, 12:11, and 12:10, so 6:06, 6:05 average pace range for each rep. Did it on a rolling hills route and felt great. Pace to relative effort level felt easier today than it did during the long run, for instance. So the effort I was putting out to get, like 20-minute flat 5Ks felt harder on Saturday than it did today to run 2-mile reps at like close to 6 flat per mile. So just goes to show that the human body and sort of training, running in general, these are not perfect things that are going to be completely optimized and in perfect working order all the time. 10 or 11 days out from the race, I feel like I normally would, coming off of an 80-mile week. Feel like I normally would in sort of normal training. So everything feeling pretty good. Feel like I usually do this far out from a marathon, and I'm definitely going to approach it similarly that I did with Chicago. I don't feel like, in terms of my preparation and in terms of my race plan, that anything sort of in my like direct control went particularly wrong with Chicago. Obviously the result was not what I wanted, and it was not executed in the way that I had planned. But I feel like in terms of things that were in my hands, I did pretty much everything that I could, considering all factors. The goal is to push myself, and if that looks like a sub 250, then that's great. If that just looks like, closing out 2024 with a new personal record in the marathon, then that's great too. If that just looks like an evenly paced race, considering however I feel on the day, I'd be happy with that. Don't really know what conditions look like quite yet. Not going to overanalyze it or worry about it all too much. I got enough like life-related stressors going on right now. Car is making weird noises, broke down earlier this week. I have family-related gatherings and normal stuff to prepare for and worry about. I have a wedding that is sort of coming down to the wire with planning in less than a month. I got enough things to worry about in my everyday life. I'm not going to sweat the conditions or anything else that I can't control related to the race all that much. So hopefully we get a good day. Hope to catch up soon then. Peace.